Who's ready for October? No, I'm just kidding. October. We've got lots going on with the elections. You're having the FTX releasing funds to people that they're paying back on all the money that they stole, which, by the way, I did tell everybody that, hey, this is not looking good. Same thing with the Celsius. If you followed me on my other social media platforms, you guys know what my investment philosophy is. But in today's video, we're going to talk about where Bitcoin is going and why we shouldn't be panicking. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get this video to like 100 likes. You know, my other YouTube channel is doing much better than this, and I'd like to help teach people and give them good information. So without further ado, let's get into some of the charts. So if you've been following, and you know, ironically, I will show you what is going on with my live trade here. So just to be honest. So, but first off, and why I'm not nervous about stuff. We've got this red line here, and this is what I like to call the oh shit line, where if we fall below this, really the only level of support is going to be right around this $52,000 mark. And we don't want to see that. And that's just because of this level down here, right? And realistically here, if I draw another one, this is where we would end up going to. And if I'm looking at stuff, well, what has gone on? Well, here is a low. Here is a higher low, right? We made a high here, but this was a lower high than this one right here. And then same thing here. Here's a lower high, but then boom, we had a higher high. But what's interesting is here is a higher low. And then now we've made another higher low, which is great, which this indicates that boom, we're upwards going up. And I am saying it. I'm just plain up saying it that Bitcoin is now the 60,000 is the new 10,000. And here, let me bring up that chart so that we can see it. And this is by Plan B. Okay. And pretty much we've had stagnation throughout the cycles here. Okay. Last one in 2020, boom. And then 2016, boom, stagnation, which this was about $1,000. Okay. And we never fell back below the $1,000 after we jumped up to that 17. Then, yeah, we tanked, but did we ever get back down to that $1,000? No. Then during the last cycle, 2022, 2023, we pumped up to 60. Everyone was crashing for, hey, we're going to get a $9,000 Bitcoin again. Guess what we got? We got like an $18,000 Bitcoin. And I told everybody that's where I'm going all in, where I'm mortgaging the house and whatnot. Actually, I didn't do that, but I came up with some cash to go on there. Ironically, the true story is I sold my truck and then ended up having some medical emergencies with some of my animals. So, you know, ended up being like 15 grand for my cat. So I now call my cat the Bitcoin cat because I was going to buy Bitcoin with that money. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to, oh, I opened up the wrong deal. Let's get back to some of the stuff that I want to show you. So here's that same chart, okay, with the higher high breaking above. Boom. Now we have that here. I just need to draw another one here so that it just looks official. Like, how sexy is that? Boom. Then we have the lower high, which is perfect. Now the next step is to have another higher high, and that's going to be around here above 70 or so. Okay. And that's going to continue this trend upwards. And that's where I see us going. But here, this is what I want to show you. Okay. So on the monthly, we have this flag. Okay. And you can call it a pennant, whatever you want to call it. It's a falling wedge. Usually when these guys break out, boom, boy, do they break out. And this guy's going to be going to that 100K or so. Right. And realistically, this cycle, everyone is saying like 250,000, but I am starting to somewhat think that the 150 is probably enough to start feeling, okay, that's when we need to start thinking about potentially selling our buttload of stuff. But here, let's look at this. Okay, here, this is October. This is October of last year. Do you see this massive green candle? Okay, this guy bumped up, what is that, 30%? Massive. But if we go into the weekly, right, this is where I circled it in that month. How did October start off? Here's August, September, October. So here, let me zoom into this so that we can better see. Let me get rid of the drawing. Boom. And yeah, sorry for it not being as fast paced as what I would like it to be. But here, October, first week of October, boom, first 10 days or so, we had 2 weeks being red. Boom. And downwards of around 10% last year in October. Before then, we had a massive, what was the next week? October 16th, on that Monday, boom. Then throughout that entire week, 11%. Then we got another 10%, all the way crazy, crazy, crazy month. Okay. So where are we currently right now? Well, we have gone down considerably. And if we look at the historic, we were down about 7%. Now we're down about 2%. In Ethereum, for the love of me, I don't know why I'm trading Ethereum, because God almighty, this pisses me off. And so that's a good segue to show you guys being down $7,000 on the account that we're trying to turn into 100. It's a far cry from it right now, because now I have $18,000 locked up into this sucker. Right. I had to lower my leverage, and it's something that breaks my rules that I've got pointed on here, is you never add to a losing trade. Okay. That's just how it is. But sometimes you got to ebb and flow. So I entered here right around 2,600. Okay. I thought we were going to hit off of this support. I walked away, and lowest behold, hey, hold on. I got a comment. How freaking cool. Morning, Johnny. Hey, what's up, dude? What's up, man? Walsh. Hey, you follow the other channel. I appreciate it, man. But this one is a bummer, right? Because nobody likes to see that. I ironically, on this trade, I've made like 7,000 today because of this pump that we had. But if you've been following me, okay, so the whole story was, I walked away, I set it and forget it, because that's kind of like how I like to swing trade. I'm not big of a day trader, right? I've got my big investments that I just sit in assets and hold for freaking ever. But what ended up happening that I'm not impressed to share is, entered it, saw that we were going to get, maybe a little bit down more size. I just wanted to be in a trade. I was really shooting for 25.50 for Ethereum. And then I started getting notifications on my phone, and it was too late. We were way down here. And I'm like, good God, now that I'm involved in, like, have too much money locked up in that single trade, like, it's all in now. And coming from an ex-pro extreme athlete motocross, right? I've got a bunch of rods in my legs, 15 screws in my shoulder. I'm a risky mofo. So what do? I'm like, all right, if I'm going to lose the biscuit, we're going to lose the biscuit. So I throw another 1,500 bucks into this guy so that I can move my liquidation price down just a bit. But I ended up changing that this morning and adding to the position, because now it's $110,000 position here. And yeah, we've turned this account from $100 into $10,000. So it seems fairly like we can do the 10,000 to 100,000, right? But we can't if we lose it. And I kind of ruined it by adding that other $1,500 in there. So right now it's somewhat voided what I was trying to do, but I didn't say I was going to go from 10,000 to 100. The challenge was 1,000 to 10,000, and that's what we did in this account. So, and truth behold, right? If I'm talking a little bit clearly, 18,000, if I lose it, it's not going to be the death of me. Is it going to sting? Yeah, it'll definitely sting, but it's not going to be the death of me. But there's so much going on that tells me that I had to hold on to this guy. There's a thing that's called hopium, right? Fear and hope. That's usually what we do. And especially when you're trying to trade, what are the things that you start to hope for the position to turn around on you, or you get greedy, right? Male egos, we like to get greedy quite a bit. I think I still hold the number one amount of money on the whole crypto wars channel of making $5,000 live in an hour, right? I'm the only one on the like 7 seasons that they've had that has been able to do that. But that's because I'm a risky mofo. But here, I don't believe that this is as risky of a trade. Finally, yesterday, we've got the doji candle that happened with Ethereum here, right? So I felt like this is going to be okay. So I added to that position, because again, we are seeing what I saw on Bitcoin, right? Here is a low. Here is a higher low. Here's a higher low. Here is a higher low. Okay. The problem here's if you're looking at this small trade here, we've got a higher high, then a much higher high. But if you're looking at it here, it is null and void on the daily. I'd have to go to the 4-hour for that. So it's a little bit of front running. If I'm looking at the volume on everything for this guy, the massive support was right around that 15, 21, 2200 or so. And that's basically where my liquidation price is here. So we're hoping I'm not going to have to add any more money to it, but God be willing, right? I will freaking add more money to this SOB to make sure this trade stays alive, because I've just shown you how much sediment that I think is going to happen come here soon, because we've got rate cuts. Okay. We've already gotten a 0.5 rate cut. And then we also are getting the election, right? And it freaking Trump's got to be getting in. He's good for Bitcoin. If Commie Harris gets elected, shit, I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to start getting taxed on our unrealized gains. And as a middle-class individual that is creating FU money, I don't like that idea, right? We start small and we get big, and then we make good decisions doing that. And ironically, I'm over here telling you guys to make good decisions when I end up making a pretty bad decision in the short term, right? In the long term, if I hold on to this guy, truthfully, I'll start scaling out right around, you guys can't see the screen. Truthfully, I'll start scaling out right around the, here, restart view, 2,900, right? Or so mark, which is going to be up here. And once this guy does bounce, it'll probably get back to my break-even point. And then at that point, it's okay. Now, what do I do? Am I just happy that I got out of the trade, or do I hold on to that sucker? And me, knowing from what the rest of the world does, because I tell this to people all the freaking time, is Mark Twain. If you find yourself on the side of the majority, you should stop and reflect. When it comes to trading, 99% of people lose money. Why is that? Well, because it's human emotion. So what is it that you have to do? You have to think differently. And boom, this sucker goes to break even. I'm going to post it, right? You guys can see, I'm going to show you what's going on, because as of right now, this is the worst this account has been down, but we have still made all this money. This still isn't my money to be lost. It's basically the money that we've made. However, $8,000 is still a lot of freaking money. Okay. But my point being, once we get to break even, I do see some resistance happening here and potentially a pullback back down to that 2,500 or so. I'm still effing holding on. I'm still effing holding on because the trade is winning. Now I need to try to continue to pump it up. And so realistically, right, looking at where the majority of the weight is, okay, here, if I zoom in here, some more indicators, get another one going here. All right. Most of the volume is stuck right around that 3,500. So that's the big wall. That is the big wall. And if this guy makes 3,500, that's $30,000. So then we're basically at that point halfway to the $100,000 in the account. Boom. And truthfully, this is just a play account. I want to buy my wife TRD Pro Sequoia. So, that sucker's $90,000. And I'll probably end up financing it, because you borrow money. That's how you obtain wealth. Ironically, yeah, that's what you do. You borrow money at low interest rates, and you go put your money to work for you, right? So anyway, that is the point. But if there's anything to take away from this, it is that Bitcoin has not broken out yet. Okay. On the monthly, this is actually the weekly, but on the monthly, we have the flag pattern happening. And I know bears and people are all talking that, oh, we're going to go down. But truthfully, no, 60,000. Okay. Look at how many months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This has been 8 months that we've been sitting at 60,000. Okay. Where else down? This is down at 10,000. And that's why I'm saying 60,000 is the new 10,000 in Bitcoin. Okay. Where we just have this stagnation of nothing exciting happening, where you're just poking it going, do something, effing do something, right? So this is never going back down to here, never. And we're just going up from here because of the deflationary aspect. And when you look at freaking the spot Bitcoin ETFs inflows and outflows over the last few weeks, man, we've seen $500 million in a single day go into the inflows, which this was right here was a moment where we could see that something was going to happen. Somebody knew about stuff. There's always somebody that front runs, and already somebody knew that there was going to be the whole Iran versus Israel stuff. And as soon as that happened, boom, we had minus 300 million going on here. And that's what happened with my trade is I was in, walked away, and then crisis happened around the world. But usually in the midst of chaos, there's opportunity. So we're holding on to, at this point, a little bit of hopium, but with how things are working, because Bitcoin is more popular than Ethereum, but that's just what I'm trading at the moment. And I'm probably going to stop trading Ethereum because Ethereum is not working as well as Bitcoin, but boom, popping. And same thing. Okay. Just a day later we had basically here. This is what pisses me off about these things. Okay. Is we have this candle, right? It's somewhat of a doji, but not entirely. It's almost of a shooting star at the bottom of a trend, which is somewhat of a reversal here. Then we had the doji. And on Ethereum, it was a day late, okay? Because we had a inverted hammer candle, which is like, oh crap. And truthfully, you have those 3 black crows, which is something you never like to see. These big ones, boom, 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 which tells you, it's kind of a continuation aspect. But then finally, we saw the doji candle, which is a reversal candle, because we tend to see those a little bit. Like here's another one. Then we had the massive move up. Here's this one. Now we're going to potentially see that another move up. Boom, same thing, okay? Because we look back on Bitcoin, here is that reverse hammer, right? Boom, and which almost was a doji, but not entirely. Here's the actual hammer on this guy. We had 2 of those post, and if I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, you could almost think that, hey, are we getting a double top? Because you could have 1 top, 2 top, right? But you could also look at this as a W pattern and a breakout. If we end up looking here, you could even say that this almost looks like a double bottom for Bitcoin too. But I am looking for another higher high to post on this deal. So I'm looking at a price target of around 70,000 for Bitcoin because of what I have showed you on the lower time frames here. Okay, is if we break above the, why am I still on? Because we've got the higher low. Now we just need the higher high, which is above the 65,000. So this move, I could see going maybe having a little bit of resistance, stop a little bit. But even if we get another downwards movement, what is that, guys? That is another, hey, Bennett, what's up, dude? Good to see you again. Hope trade and everything's going well for you. That is another higher low. Then we have another higher high. And this is October. Next week is going to be amazing. So it's just about holding on. So what am I doing? I did what I needed to do to hold F and on. We've heard this the saying before, when you're at the end of your rope, you tie a knot. So what did I do? I tied a freaking knot, and I'm pissed that I was away from my computer and everything when we broke through, right? So I entered. And then once we broke down below the 2550-ish range, I should have got out. I wasn't around. So it ended up being a deal where there's a falling knife and I'm just holding on for dear life, right? But I saw where we could potentially be going. And I do know with the news when it comes to what happened with COVID and now here with the Israel thing, usually when there's an invasion, when there's something catastrophic that happens, it's time to make money, right? So this is time to make money. Could I wish I would have bought now? Yes, because this is a signal candle, at least for me, saying boom. And now you could have a tight stop loss on whatever you want. You could have Bitcoin or Ethereum. You could be going, okay, Now we've got the confirmation, and this confirmation candle is really going to hit here in, what is it, 4 hours, because that's when the daily is going to close. And that's boom. Okay. Put your stop loss right underneath where these low were, about the 59, I would say 59, 200-ish range. But then you could hold on to this trade till 70,000. With potential small stop around 65, because that's just kind of where it is. Here, let me look at the volume real quick on where, okay, on the daily. Let's move this here. Let's just grab the high of 71, and then let's grab this recent low. Okay, boom. There's really the support right there, is right at that 59,000. But if I want to move this guy even further down, boom, that's where I was telling you where it's part of the resistance is going to be around that 67. Okay, so that's really where I'm kicking myself, is I felt like I should have entered now and had a tight stop than sitting here with a major negative trade of $8,000 right now. So, hey, what do you think the time frame us to hit the 70K range again? See, that's all, this is speculation on stuff, okay? But for us to hit that 70K again, I am thinking that it may happen at the end of this month, okay? It may happen at the end of this month. Next 2-3 weeks is really where I'm looking at stuff, but I definitely think we're going to return to the 65 here in the next week or so. And then it's going to tell. It's going to be a trying time there where, here, let me remove the drawings here, where, okay, this guy goes to the 65, then what happens? Does it get rejected and then everything is voided because now we come down and we hit a lower low, right? That is going to be an indication that I don't want to see. That now we got to wait for the election to potentially see a pump or the next rate cut, because what's going to happen? The next rate cut is going to be in November. And I'm telling you right now, like I told all these guys that I go with that have much bigger channels than me, right? It not saying that this time is different because that's ignorant, but my what I'm saying is usually when rates get cut, it signifies like a bear market, because bonds end up becoming where you want to move your money to, because stocks, but the dynamic has changed, and banks are tired of having 8% interest, like cars. For instance, nobody should go out and buy a car right now because the interest rates are too high. Banks want to refi their debt. So now that we've got a 0.5 percentage point decrease and potentially another half come November, shit's going to get real quick. Okay. Even if we just get the quarter rate cut, that to me is going to signify some exponential growth. There's going to be liquidity in there. Same thing with the FTX payback stuff. We're going to see stronger markets here. But if we get another in November, another rate cut of half, this sucker is going to go through the moon. Okay. But I would like to see us here in the next month get back to maybe have a small little pullback, and then ideally come up here and hit above the 70, because that's really going to be the resistance. And I could see the pullback to 70 back down to 65. And that's really where I think we're going to hover around come the election, is we're going to be in this 60 to 70-ish range. But as the election is going on, right, in November, people are like, they're waiting. Big money is waiting to see who is going to get elected, because I've shown you this, right? If I go back to these charts, me saying that, hey, this is a signal candle that this trend is coming up here. It's almost engulfing of what we've had the last couple days. And that's on Ethereum, but on Bitcoin is pretty close to the same indication. Okay, because I show you the candle that I was looking at, which was the first one. This was kind of my hopium candle, was this doji, which is like, okay, is it going up or down? Then we get another one, which now tells me, okay, the market is definitely not concise about it. And now, boom, here we get this signal candle. Well, in November, that is the signal candle for all the big effing money. The big effing money is thinking of, hey, who's going to get elected? Okay. And if Kamala Harris gets elected, I see that we're going to see a little bit of a pullback. right? But we're not going to see it might go down to 52. It might go down to 52 if she gets elected. But if it goes down to 52, that still doesn't break this trend here to say now from the long-term effects that we are not going to be still in a bull market. And somebody asked me about Chainlink. I'll give it to you, dude. I do like Chainlink. I think it is, if I'm speaking personally, not financial advice, I own like 10 grand worth of Chainlink. Love it. It's effing done exactly what Bitcoin has done the last 8 months is you just want to poke it because it does absolutely nothing. Right. And that's kind of what Chainlink has done. I'm not a big investor into here. Before I just end the stream real quick. Okay. That's where we're going. But my investing philosophy, even with trading, is I like high liquidity. And I believe in real assets for me. I am not a meme coin doer or whatever. Like I own a couple houses because I know that people need to live. They need to have a roof over their head. Okay. That's a solid investment for me. I don't have these risky stuff. I was in Vegas for my other YouTube channel and I didn't do any gambling. Ended up making like 8 grand trading, but that is not so much gambling when you're looking back at this stuff and you have not a premonition, but some information with technical analysis and what's going on with the market to say, hey, I think things are in the upward trajectory. Because like, look at this. Who is to think that this market over the last few months is anything but going up right now? If you zoom out, right? If I go even on the 15-minute, are you wanting to short right now? Like on the 15-minute, you are totally going against the trend if you're trying to short on the 15-minute. No, not something you should be doing, right? So that's my point. So end it. My investment philosophy is buying good assets. Like my stock portfolio has got a bunch of Amazon, it's got a bunch of Toyota stock in it, Tesla stock, Facebook, which is Meta now, Apple, stuff that I use on a daily basis. I do not like speculative assets like Shiba or Dogecoin. I know as a millennial, I get a lot of slack for it because everyone loves that dumb shit. And I just want to stay freaking away from it because it's too speculative. I need to have some foundation to it where it is actually an asset that is going to stay around for a while. Like Warren Buffett, he bought Coca-Cola after like 15 years of it being around, right? And he put lots of money in it and ended up, we all know whatever. But anyway, this is Johnny Crypto. Hit that subscribe button. I post almost every day. I'm here to help you guys make some money. And, I will be honest with you. This stuff is not for the faint-hearted, especially if you're trading, because I am disconnected from this number. This trading account, it's down 43%. And there's been so much hard work that has gone into making this account stick, right? And I'll be damned if I see this sucker go to zero because of how much work. So that's could be the death of me. However, you see where I have my stop loss here. I may have to move it down to, I'd have to put like another 5 grand into this sucker. And that's something you should never do, right? So I'm telling you right now, I made a mistake and now I'm trying to hold on to the mistake because I see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, but it's full of hopium. So that's a problem. But anyway, this isn't for the faint-hearted. You got to disconnect yourself from this stuff because this could ruin my day. This could totally ruin my day. Going like, man, I effed up, right? No, I'm still going to have a good time with my kids. I'm going to have a good weekend, but I'm just going to watch this a little bit closer. I've got some limits on, I wonder if I can show you. Here's all the limits, right? So you can see all the lines. These are the lines that I have. When this sucker crosses, I get a notification on my phone and I'm like, I better look at the chart because I'm not longer losing 8 grand. I'm now losing 10 grand. And then it's like, now I'm losing 14 grand. So that's when you're like, okay, rubber meets the road. What am I doing? Am I calling it quits or am I going out? And right now I am feeling that the worst is over and that we are going to continue to go up. And so there is a little sense of relief going on right now. Okay. But we can see if I'm just looking at it, we can see resistance has been formed right here around the 24.30 range or so, right? So that's where we're getting a little wick here. This candle is going to close here in 4 hours. Yeah, it's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is when this candle closes, and we'll see what happens. Usually, markets don't really move until Monday when the Chinese market moves at like 1 a.m. I hate it that the markets do that at 1 a.m. I'm just like, gosh dang it, I want to get some sleep. Okay, but right now I've got a $110,000 trade going, so I'm going to have to at least look at it when the whole Asian markets open because they like to sell shit early. But what has gone on with China right now is they have a stimulus package that has gone through. China, they are lowering their rates, right? I'm not talking about Japan where they just raise the rates. And, that's really what happened over why, Ethereum and Bitcoin went down from 70 and, Ethereum went down from 3,500 to basically 2,000. Well, is this because Japan decided to raise their interest rates for the first time in 20 effing years? And that was a gnarly experience to be part of again. Okay. But right now we have such good news that hasn't yet really hit the market with, again, the Chinese market. They are stimulating their economy. We're stimulating our economy as well, where we're basically turning on the printer again. You've got the elections coming up here, the FTX withdrawals or paybacks. There's going to be more liquidity in the markets. You've got BlackRock and everybody being open about how great this stuff is. Even both parties are saying how important this space is for stuff. And this isn't just good for crypto. This is good for all assets. Okay. But I will pay close attention to all this stuff. But anyway, hit that subscribe button. Be rad. Appreciate you, buddy. Till next time. This is Johnny Crypto out.